army about to attack a school full of kids and missionaries. But when they get close, they don't see children and teachers. They see hundreds of military men, so many that it made them afraid. It wasn't a coincidence, because they came back the next day, and the next day when they got there, they saw the same thing, because God answered the prayers of those children and those missionaries. John Webster Anderson recorded the story of Steve and Phil, two Christian plainclothes police officers assigned to discover the source of drugs ruining the community of Nutley, New Jersey. After prayer, they successfully found the hideout of the suppliers, which was a cave. One night, they chased a group of young adults to the cave. Praying Psalms 91, they saw that the cave had held dozens of violent young adults, including their leader, Mr. Big, the head drug dealer himself. Unarmed, but filled with courage, they went in and calmly apprehended Mr. Big and all of the others that was in the cave. As they led the prisoners out, a police van pulled up to take them back to the station, and they asked Mr. Big, "Why didn't you or any of the others try to attack us when we came in?" He said, "You think I'm crazy or something? There was at least 25 guys in blue uniforms." No, there was just 2 of us," the officer replied. But Mr. Big called over to another young prisoner, and he said, "How many cops came into the cave?" The young man said, as he struggled, he shrugged his shoulders and said, "At least 25 came in, but there was only 2. You may feel like you're fighting the battle by yourself, but I promise, if you'll put your faith in the Lord, God will show up with an army of angels to minister in your need." In 2002, the Rodeo Jestic forest fire consumed nearly 500,000 acres, roaring through much of Arizona. Firefighters labored valiantly to save the American Indian Christian mission, but they were forced to leave when the blaze became too dangerous. Prayers from thousands of people were mingled with those of the children who asked God to deliver the mission. It looked as though God had not heard their cries for deliverance when the blaze roared up to within a few feet of the missionary school on 3 sides. But God came through. Not one building was burned. Interestingly, 3 crosses stood near the entrance of the school. In the inferno, only one was burned. It was the one in the middle. To those in the mission, that lone burned cross was a powerful reminder that Jesus Christ has saved the mission just as He saved our souls by being the one who allowed Himself to become consumed by the sins of the world as He hung suspended between heaven and earth. That's the power of God. There was a lady named Myra. She worked for Teen Challenge in a very rough neighborhood in Philadelphia. A gang ruled the street outside the ministry center, harassing any young people who wanted to come to the center for help. One night when the gang appeared, Myra suddenly felt inspired to tell them about Jesus. She opened the door, walked outside. Instead of listening to her, the gang shouted threats of drowning her in a nearby river. Myra breathed a prayer to Jesus, saying, "Lord, let your angels come with me and protect me," as she murmured it under her breath. Then she opened the door and was about to speak when the gang members just all of a sudden stopped their shouting, turned to look at one another, and left silently and quickly. Myra was surprised. Why had they gone? The gang did not return for several days. Then one afternoon, to the surprise of everyone, they entered the center in an orderly fashion, and much later, after a relationship had been built with them, they were asked what made them leave so peacefully that night. One young man said, "Well, we wouldn't dare touch her after her boyfriend showed up. The dude had to be 7 feet tall. I didn't even even though Myra had a boyfriend, they were told. But at any rate, she was here alone that night, they replied. No, she wasn't, they said. Instead, another gang member, he was right behind her. He was big as life in his classy white suit, about 7 foot tall.